Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third video. So we're going to have a look at the weather next 10 to 14 days for today's third video. So day 10 takes us to around the 27th of April. We'll be able to extend out beyond that. We extended GFS and ECM ensembles, maybe around a couple of weeks. And we're going to have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video. For the next 4 weeks, which will take us into the middle of May, of course. I shall get on with that for you very shortly. Just say that the first video release today was our nice little 7 AM upload. And we also released a weekend forecast, as well as on Saturday. Your weekend look ahead, and we're going to be having our first update for the bank holiday weekend for you this evening. So we're going to begin the countdown to the early May bank holiday weekend, probably after 7 o'clock or around 7 o'clock this evening, I would have thought. So if you enjoy the content on the channel, please like, share and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you think. And yeah, thanks so much everybody for doing that. Just beginning with the latest temperature observations from XC Weather. So it's been a cold start again to the day, particularly across the central, southern and eastern areas. We've currently got 13 degrees flashing away there in several locations in the north and the west. Down in the south, it's a little bit cooler there, 11 degrees, for example, at London Gatwick, and just 10 degrees at Norwich and 9 degrees at Weybourne. However, in the strong April sunshine, it is feeling relatively pleasant and will continue to do so through the rest of the afternoon. Central temperature is currently standing at 5.6 degrees. That's an anomaly of 1.5 degrees below average. That is provisional to yesterday, to the 16th of April. It looks like the CET is probably going to come in under 7 degrees. My friend Simon, aka Global Warming, at the Weather Outlook Forum is projecting that central England temperature for April is likely to come in at 6.85. So that would bring it in underneath March, which came out, of course, at 7.2. Relatively unusual for April to be colder than the March before it, but it does happen sometimes. This is the CT page, GavsWeatherVids. CT, of course, is the longest and most reliable temperature index anywhere in the world. Goes all the way back to 1659. If we scroll down through the centuries of decades, we come down 2021 just here. So there we see it, 7.2 for March 2021. So the last time we had April cooler than March was in 2012 actually. March 2012 came out 8.3. April 2012 came out at 7.2. Before that, we have to go back to 1998 for when it happened before. So it is quite an uncommon occurrence, as I say. It does happen occasionally, but quite uncommon. So 1998 had March CT at 7.9, April CT at 7.7. And then there was a run through the early 1990s into the 80s that we had this happen as well. So in 1991, we have March and April the same CT at 7.9. In 1990, we had March CT at 8.3 and April at 8.0. That was a very warm April. And then we have 1989, which had the March CT at 7.5 and the April CT at 6.6. If this central temperature for April 2021 does come out at 6.8, that would actually be the coolest or the coldest April in terms of central temperature anyway since 1989, so a very, very long time ago. If we pull this off, we may not do, because next week might turn out to be a little bit warmer than was anticipated yesterday, but it's possible this could be the coldest April since 1989, which would be very, very noteworthy, of course. Special mention, of course, for 1978. Been talking about teaser winters, or did talk about teaser winters earlier on in the year, and of course we have March central temperature at 6.7 in 1978, and April central temperature at 6.5, colder than the March before it in 1978. That's one of the most notable things about the spring of 1978, following the teaser winter of 77, 78, and preceding the very cold, severely cold and snowy winter of 78, 79. The parallels between 2021 and 1978 continue. I shall say no more than that, and we'll pick all that up later on in the year, of course. Right, so this is how the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles are looking for the next couple of weeks. I'm looking at Windsor today, where, of course, the funeral of the Duke of Edinburgh is going to be taking place this afternoon. R.I.P. to Prince Philip. So we start off with the pretty cold at the moment. The upper air temperatures are still below average. They are slowly going to lift up, of course, over the next few days. It's a slow old process, but gradually is a bit of a recovery in the temperature taking place. Now, this period just here, later next week, has caused all sorts of problems within the model output. We did a video yesterday where the suggestion was there that it was going to bring down another Arctic plunge, another northerly blast. The models are backing away from that idea a little bit this morning, but there are still several ensemble members that are quite cold during that period. The general trend is still upwards, however, so possibly a warmer spell taking place in around a week's time. And then going into the start of into the end of April and the start of May, I should say, it looks as though things could start to get cooler once again. A lot of scatter within there, though, so the only real reliable period, but you would say, is probably just these first few days that we're starting off with. I mean, as early as around the 21st, 22nd of April, we've got quite a bit of scatter, and that just sort of increases then as we go further on. So quite an uncertain period coming up. There's going to be a lot of dry weather around over the next week. We discussed this in the weekend broadcast, of course. Plenty of dry, not completely dry, but with some showery bursts here and there, but plenty of dry weather to come in the next week. But as we get to the end of April into the beginning of May, we do possibly start to see signs that things are going more unsettled then. Temperature anomalies from the 17th to 25th of May are going to be colder than average for England and Wales, or slightly colder than average anyway, nearer normal further north. I would expect these to start trending a little bit warmer over the next few days, but we'll have to see about that. And precipitation anomalies from the 17th to 25th of May, very dry, really dry, especially so for England and Wales. Latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net shows that we are still under high pressure. We're drawing up something a little bit less cold or milder from the south, just to the west of Ireland. Those somebodies are struggling though to get into the UK. Right, so this is how the UK Met is looking for Tuesday, under high pressure, but there will be a trough moving in from the northwest on Tuesday. That could bring some showery bursts with it, and we'll introduce something a little bit cooler from the northwest as well. Now, this is Wednesday, high pressure building back in from northwest on Wednesday. Remember, yesterday there was a suggestion among several models that we would drop in like a northerly wind. Today, most of the models are shunting that northerly off to Scandinavia. Nevertheless, as this ridge builds in around middle of next week, it will be cooler, so you'll probably see a return to overnight frost, but not that big northerly that we're setting up across several models yesterday, probably. That's Thursday. Again, notice the northerly is plunging off into Scandinavia. We're under the area of high pressure, just being protected from that northerly a little bit. And then we go through to 144 hours as far as we get to with the UK Met, which is to Friday. And again, we're under this area of high pressure, just maybe starting to pull the air up from off the continent then, which might start to lift the temperature up a little bit. GFS 6Z, again, Tuesday, trough will push through the coast, bring some showering bursts. It'll be a very weak trough indeed. High pressure end ridge is back in behind it for Wednesday. Notice the northerly being shunted off to Scandinavia, although under this ridge it is quite chilly, so certainly a return of night frost around the middle part of next week. And then into the second half of next week and next weekend, the high pressure sort of centres to our east. I've been talking about this in the videos a lot lately. We've been tending to get high pressure sitting to our west. Of course, the wind comes around the high pressure in a clockwise direction. So if we have high pressure to the west, we'll pull the wind in from the north. To get warmth, you've got to get the high pressure to our east. That's what the GFS 6 does by next weekend. Centres the high pressure to the east, so around the high pressure, we would start to draw up the air from more of a southerly source, and that of course would begin to lift the temperature as well. Moving up to day 10, high pressure in control centered over to the east of the country, bringing in the wind from like an east-southeasterly direction. Should see the temperature warming up. This comes off next weekend, possibly getting into the low 20s Celsius, maybe. And that carries on up to day 10. Beyond day 10, we begin to move that high pressure back to the northwest. Again, unfortunately, as we go into bank holiday weekend, or fortunately, depending on your point of view, high pressure begins to move back west and north again. And here we go again, starting to pull wind back in from the north. So over bank holiday weekend, it's turning cooler and more unsettled. This is over 2 weeks away, though, so it is very unreliable. More about that in our bank holiday update number 1 this evening. This is how the GEM is looking. So again, we've got this trough moving in on Tuesday. Now, the GM is still bringing these northerlies to us. Look at this. This is a big difference compared to the UK Met and the GFS. So Wednesday next week, the high pressure is out to the west of the country, and down comes that northerly wind. So the GM is still going for northerly winds through the middle part of the week. The northerly continues into Thursday as well. So the GM is definitely the coldest of those models, out of the three, the GFS, the UK Met and the GM. The GM definitely the coldest. Still with wind in from the north-northeast into the end of next week as well. No southerly southeasterlies, it's all northeasterlies from the GM. Still relatively settled with high pressure in control, but certainly a lot colder compared to the other model output. As we get to day 10, the high pressure sitting around the country, but looking like it's about to try and get itself up to Greenland again. So if we could go on any further than that, which we can't with the GM, but if we could, we would probably see yet another northerly there. How's the ECM looking? Let's have a look. So again, we've got this area of high pressure just out to our west on Wednesday. The ECM is also shunting most of that northerly off to Scandinavia. So the GM was quite isolated on this northerly plunge in the middle of next week, I have to say. The general idea is to have the northerly over Scandinavia, and we're under this ridge of high pressure. Nevertheless, under the ridge of high pressure, because it is quite a cool ridge that's building in from the north, we will probably get night frost. Into the last weekend of April, we begin to try and get the high pressure up to our east, northeast, and try to draw in something a little bit milder from the south, but actually not all that much of a southerly with the ECM. So this is probably mainly dry with further cold nights, but largely dry and pleasant days, I suspect. And that carries us through to day 10. It's all in the placement of that ridge of high pressure, that area of high pressure will determine, what happens in terms of the temperature anyway, through the final week or so of April. This is the precipitation type forecast based on that ECM run. We'll rattle through this very quick, so there's not going to be much rain around, to be honest. It's going to be high pressure pretty much from beginning to end, so very little to be seen there. I think we'll move on from that quite quickly. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 27th of April. We have 24 members of the ECM ensembles, including the control and the operational run, that have high pressure centred over and slightly to the northwest of the country, mainly dry and flying back just on the periphery of colder air that's actually sinking through Scandinavia. 15, more in line with the GM, I suppose, have high pressure further to the northwest, trough low pressure over Scandinavia, that is bringing down northerly winds. And then 12 just here in line with the GFS 6Z, I suspect, with high pressure pretty much through the country, and probably drawing up a warmer sort of southerly southeasterly. The devil's in the detail. The devil is in the detail with the placement of this area of high pressure. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that this is the option that we got, because there was only one of them, and it gets us to the 2nd of May. 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensembles, all of them have a trough of low pressure over to the east of the country. So obviously going to be more unsettled with that, and potentially quite cool as well with winds in from the north. So still not looking great for the bank holiday weekend, but of course it is 2 weeks away. Finally, we just have a look at 7SV2 and then we're done. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down into a weekly periods. The first week period takes from the 17th, 23rd of April. The coming week is dominated by high pressure, of course. So we are going to be mostly dry. Week 2 looks very different. This is the 24th to the 30th of April. The high's gone back to Greenland. Retrogression again with low pressure in off the Atlantic. That's going to be much more unsettled with that low pressure in off the Atlantic, and potentially quite cool or even pretty cold as well, with winds tend to be coming in more from a northerly or northeasterly direction. So that's going for colder weather, or cool weather anyway, in the last week of April. Week 3 is the 1st through to the 7th of May. This is a rather bizarre looking chart with northern blocking, but also high pressure over France and Spain. Low pressure is out in the Atlantic. So probably bringing up wind from like a southerly, southwesterly. So that's turning milder with that and breaking us out of the more unsettled conditions, I would have thought. And then week 4 is going to be the 8th through to the 14th of May. High pressure then from Iceland to Scandinavia. Winds in from the east. That's a classic sort of easterly week, which you do get a lot of course, in May. May is our most easterly month on average of the year. Will probably be quite warm actually and relatively pleasant. Right, if you enjoyed the video then please can you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much everybody for doing this. You'll be able to see future weather content if you sub. Tell friends, family and everybody else to subscribe. Everybody who subscribes brings a friend. We're going to get to our target of 11k subscribers that much more quickly. I think we've got to put on around another 10 to get to 10,850. So that's our next sort of mini target. 10,850. The ultimate target, of course, is 11k. That's keeping us waiting. We hit 10k subscribers. Can you believe this? We hit 10k subscribers 3 months ago today, on January the 17th. The subs move so quickly up to 10k, and then it's all slowed up, as always happens, as we get through into the spring. But I think we will see things picking back up again. Hopefully, anyway, we'll see things picking back up again as we get through to May and then on into the summer. But anyway, please give us a sub. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that, if you have not yet done so. And yeah, that's absolutely great. So we're going to be back later on with our first update for the bank holiday weekend. Can you believe it? We're beginning the bank holiday weekend countdown. And I shall see you then for that. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.